So as I said, this will be a challenge, okay, because usually I like to do this for between 12 to 16 persons max, and it's much more hands-on. Okay, so for me, a workshop, it makes sense when we are doing something, okay. So I received a request or a call message from one of you guys, I believe, asking if we will do something hands-on. Well, it's impossible to do it hands-on with this amount of persons, with this audience. So I will try to demonstrate the tools, and we will have also some time for questions. But along the way, if you have something that you'd like to know, or if you are not understanding something that I'm doing, please just raise the hand, okay? I will not teach you how to use the tools, okay? So in the end of the day, you will not know how to use the tools. Hopefully, you will get some more knowledge about the tools. And then you can try them yourself, and you can take, let's say, a more or a better decision about the different tools. Okay, I will talk about these 3 different tools. Okay, and they are really different: Postman, SOAP UI, and Robo Framework. Okay, anyone knows Postman? Okay, so I will not spend a lot of time on that. It looks like SOAP UI. You also know it? Okay, and Robo Framework. Okay, good, good. So why are you here? You already know everything about the tools. Okay, so before starting, just some disclaimer, okay, about this. A tool is just a tool, okay? Do you know Isabel Evans? No? Well, she said that, I think it was Isabel or Dorothy, they said that a fool with a tool is still a fool, and I don't agree with that. I saw this t-shirt and I really agree with this. So a fool with a tool is a dangerous fool, okay? Because he can do much more harm. He can break much more things. So please be aware, the tool will not solve your problems. You need to know how to use it. You need to have the context. You need to have the knowledge about the tool itself. And I also like to use the concept of the hammer. Okay, do you have hammers? Of course you have, right? You have lots of hammers. And the hammer could be the last tool that you used. Okay? It could be the last template that you used, the last technique, the last thing that you remember. That's your hammer. Okay? And you go to the next project, and guess what? The first thing that you will take out of your toolbox, it will be your hammer. And it's not a nail, it's a screw. But you will use your hammer. And as you can see, it works. Okay? You don't need a Phillips screwdriver for that. A hammer can also do the job. Okay? And searching for this image, I saw something even more interesting, that you have a screwdriver, especially to use with a hammer. Okay? So that's good news if you like to use a hammer, because you can even use your hammer with a screwdriver. Okay? So please be aware of this. This is the disclaimer. A tool is just a tool, and don't use your hammer for everything. Okay? When we are talking about tools, and just before going to that, if you look to the team, especially if you are talking about an agile team, it's quite easy to understand the rationale behind the tool selection. Okay? If, for example, if you are talking with a team that is working with JavaScript, almost sure they will use Protractor for test automation. Okay. If it's a Java project, you know the answer. Most probably they will use Selenium. Okay. Yes? Why? Because it's the best tool for the project? It's the best tool for the context? No. Because it's the hammer. Okay. If we are talking about, and I will go a little bit off-road here, okay, because I think it's important because I see this problem happening all over the place, and I don't expect something different here. So when you see a small team, agile team, you have like 7 persons, right? A typical agile team will be around 7 persons. So in 7 persons, you have like 1 or 2 testers, right? It matches with your reality? Yes? So if you have 1 or 2 testers, in my experience, usually they are the most junior ones. They are not the senior elements in the team. Usually they are the junior ones, okay? And then it comes to the point where they need to take a decision on the tool for test automation. So you have 7 persons, and it will be a team decision. So the team will decide, right? So you have the senior guy, usually someone from the development team, and you have all the development team that is also working in project. So probably 5 of them, and then you have 1 tester and 1 UX or 1 product owner or 1 Scrum Master, whatever. But you always have less testers and usually less experience. So as a team, they will choose a tool. They need to choose a tool for test automation. So you know what will be the answer, right? So if it's Java, as I said, it will be most probably Selenium. Why? Because it will not be a decision from the tester itself. It will be from the team, and the team it's mostly used to do Java. So they will tell to the tester, don't worry, if you need help, we will help you. You know Java, right? And then in the next weeks, you will see the tester trying to learn a new language, a new programming language, trying to make the scripts run instead of actually doing some tests. Okay? And why do I think this is important? Because I think it's shoot in your own foot as a tester. Basically, what you are saying is that your work is not important. Why? So if you ask to the senior tester or to the senior developer, can I bring someone that doesn't know how to write code, for example, Java? Can I bring someone that doesn't know how to write Java code to work as a developer? They'll say, no, he needs to learn Java. He needs to be good in Java, right? I will not accept someone that is not able to write Java. Oh, but he can, do some tutorials, watch some videos on YouTube, and he will be a Java programmer. Say, no, no way, no can do, right? But basically, we are saying the same for the tester. So the tester just watch some YouTube videos, you run some tutorials on Java, and he can do Java code for testing. Why? Because it's less important. So from the career point of view, you are shooting yourself in the foot. You are saying that your work is not as important as the one that are writing the code. Okay? And besides that, as you don't have the technical skills to write the code, most probably your code will be spaghetti code, right? So in the end, after some weeks, someone will tell you, oh, that's really, really bad. We need to throw it away and start again. It's faster, it's cheaper, right? And that goes another failed project for test automation. Okay. I don't know if this matches with your reality. Yes, it matches. Okay, good to know, because I see that all over the place. Okay, it's the same mistake over and over again. Okay, I see it in South Africa, I see it in Asia, I see it in the United States, in Europe, all over the place. Okay, please run away from that. Okay, if someone tells you that as a tester you need to write code, no, you don't. Okay, don't shoot yourself. Okay, so Postman. I will not tell you my opinion about the tools, so I will try to focus on what they said about themselves. Okay, so they say that developing APIs is hard and Postman makes it easy. And Postman is the most complete API development environment. Okay, so you use Postman? Yes? Can you raise the hand? Okay, so you are developers, right? You are developing APIs. No? But they say that their tool is the best in class for API development. So why do you use Postman then? Someone told you to do that? Yes? Oh. So I will tell you another thing. The most important tool for a tester. You know what is the most important tool for a tester? Got it. Okay? And you know what? It's not optional. Okay? To have a brain and to use it, it's not an optional for a tester. Okay? It cannot be. So why we have lots of testers in our days doing things just because someone told them to? Oh, we are using Agile. We don't have requirements, but we have test case specifications. Why? I don't know, but the guy that was here before, he already retired, but he told me that I need to write test case specifications. It was how we do it. It was done for that, like that for 10, 20 years. And they told me that I still need to do it. Does it make sense? Well, no. Anyone use them? No. So why do you keep doing them? Because someone told me to. Does it match? If not, good for you, okay? If it matches, think a little bit. Why are you doing the things that you do? Why are you using a tool that is what they say, the best in class for API development? Okay? Most of the tools that are being used today for test automation are the wrong tools. Why? Because they were done by lazy developers for developers. Someone told them, you need to do test automation. You need to test what you are doing before giving your code to the testers. Say, okay, I don't like to do it. I will just write some code that will do it for me. Okay? And then they start to push that as a tool, and they told, oh, the developers are using this, it works, so the testers will also need to use it. Okay? Selenium is a good example. But it's a good tool, okay, for developers. Okay, so I have the slides there, and I told you that I will not talk, I will not give you my opinion, but let's go to, so you know, if you know Postman, you know this page, right? So they say, most complete tool chain for API development. Most used REST client, so it's a client, designed for the ground up to support API development. Intuitive user interface, well, that depends. I will disagree on some points. Designed with the developer in mind. Whoa. So are you feeling already excluded on this? So it's packed with features and options. So you know the request history, you know the variables, environments. And guess what? They also have some tests here. It's nice. that they have tests. Then you have the collections, and you also have the automated testing with the collection runner. So we'll go a little bit deeper into these. API monitoring and mock servers. So this goes behind or beyond the simple development. It goes also into the monitoring. If you remember, one of the problems with API testing, it's also to ensure the availability. So this goes a little bit into that area also, and also with mock servers. Okay. So just before going into this, well, probably you know for sure the price, and it's quite affordable, so it's free. I don't know, you are using the free version, right? Yeah. Anyone is using the paid version? Okay, so that's why you are using it. It's free. Okay. Okay, do you have any questions about the Postman itself? So for the ones that don't know the Postman, and it looks like most of you guys already know it, and I apologize for that, but I will do some small example on API testing for the ones that don't know, okay? And then you will be able to compare the same test in the 3 different tools, okay? And it looks like you know more about Postman than myself. So feel free if you want to add something to this, okay? So for API testing, like sample API service that you can use, I will use this one. It's not fully functional. You have these, also the Postman Echo, they have one website, or this HTTP bin. It's quite useful if you just want to try something. You don't need to set up your own API server. You just need to call this, and for testing purpose, or for example, when you are choosing what tool to use, it's always good to have this kind of websites. Okay, so this is HTTP pin. This is the Postman Echo, and we'll use this. Okay, JSON placeholder. Okay, so basically it's quite simple interface. We have the request builder, we have the history here, and we have some header. So I will just run a get, and that will be posts, for example, send it, and I'm receiving the response. Okay, quite simple. This will be a simple API testing, right? Much simpler than the ones that you are doing. So all the tests will be stored in the history, but to transform this into something more useful, then we use the collections, right? You use collections? Yes? I'm surprised. So who is the one that is using Postman without collections? Everyone is using collections. Most of you. Okay. No? Some of you are not. Okay, and so basically with collections, you get something that can be run later on, right? Something that you can execute later on. If not, and that's also a quite common mistake, you are using the tool. It's okay in the case of Postman, you are using the tool just as a client, just as a tool that will allow you to call the service. Okay? But usually these tools, they can bring you some more value. Okay? So in this case, we did a request. It was a get. I could run, for example, a post. In this case, for example, a post to create a new one with some parameters. example, user ID 9 and with some title. This is what we have here, title 9. Apologize because of the size. As I said, usually I like to do this with a smaller group and it's hands-on. So I know that probably you will not be able to see all the text there. So you need to trust me for most of these things. So send it, and in this case, it returns one generic ID saying, okay, the request, the post was created. Okay, in this case, it will not. It just fakes that it is doing something. And then a simple test will be, okay, I got all the list, right? I started the, sorry, 1 second. I started the tests, getting all the posts. I created a new one, and then I can check that the new one is there, right? So that will be like a verification that the test, that the creation was successful. So it will be like, so if I created this is 101, then I could get it, and it will be a get. So not with these parameters, but a get with a parameter like ID, and ID, for example, 101. Okay, and send it. And as I said, this is a fake service, so it returns an empty result because the post was not created. Well, the good thing with the collections is that when you save them, and I already have the collections here saved, so when you save them, then you can execute them in bulk, right? So if I just create these scripts, and if I save them, do you call them tests? Or do you call this test automation? Or is it, do we need something else? Assertions, right? So to call at this moment, this is not test automation. Also another common mistake. At this moment, this is just automation, right? I'm just using a tool to automate a set of steps. That's not automation from the testing perspective. It's just automation of activities. Okay, so if you are doing something like this, don't call it test automation. Okay, so for test automation, we need to have these assertions. They call it tests. So for the first one, for example, I cannot see, I cannot change this. So for the first one, I will check just the response code. Okay, and that's JavaScript code. So we have some helpers here. So I can choose some of this code. So if I click, it will create some code, and then I can change the code myself. Okay, this is JavaScript code. Do you know JavaScript? Are you expert in JavaScript code? No? Okay, I have 19 years of experience, and the first 10 of them were in web development. So I know a little bit about JavaScript code. So I can do this JavaScript, but again, if you are not expert or if you are not knowledgeable on development, you will start to write JavaScript code. Okay, probably not the best JavaScript code, and you know where you spend time on test automation, right? In test automation, you spend time in the implementation. Execution, it's for free, almost. And then you spend time in the maintenance, right? And that's where the problem is. Because for the implementation, you get budget, right? Some manager said, well, I was on that nice conference and they were talking about this nice tool for automation. It solved all the problems. So you have some amount of money, some time, some resource. You can start automation. But for maintenance, if that didn't pay it back, you will not get the money back, right? And if you build something that will require a lot of effort to do the maintenance, it will fail. Most of the automation projects fail because of that. Not because of the implementation, not because they were not useful, but because they were badly implemented and the effort to maintain it, it's too much. It's faster, easier, cheaper to do it from scratch again and again and again. And that's also the problem, because you get return of the investment when you are repeating the automated tests, not when you are repeating the implementation of the automated tests, right? So be careful with this. So I have some more validations that I add on these requests, and then I can do something really simple, that it's to run. And when I run it, basically Postman allows me to run it in 3 different ways, right? Correct? You are the experts on Postman. So I can run it on the interface. I can run it on the monitor. So basically the monitor is just a scheduler that will run from time to time to check that everything is still okay with my API. And I can also run it in the command line, what they call the Newman. Okay? So it's quite good that they have that, because if you have continuous integration process, for example, if you have Jenkins or Bamboo or Go or whatever, if you have this process that can run every night or whenever someone changes the code, then you can run your scripts to validate your API. So just run the API tests, and they will execute all these tests. So they will repeat basically what I did manually, and now it will be executed how many times I want. I can change the iterations. I can change for example, the environment. Do you use also the environments? Yes? Okay, only a few. So the environments, it's similar to data-driven. Okay. Do you know data-driven? Yes? No? Okay, data-driven is quite important for test automation, because it allows you to split your data from your scripts itself. Okay. And the data can be, for example, when we talk about the security, it could be logins and passwords. Okay, so you create this script to log in with a set of credentials, but instead of having the credentials on that file, on the script itself, you just have variables. And then you move all the data to a CSV file or to a text file, and you put your data there. So it means that with the same script, you just need to provide these data files, and the script will run several times, right, with different conditions. So different variants with different pairs of credentials. Okay. The interesting thing with data-driven is that you can also do that to improve the maintenance of your tests for different environments. So in our days, it's quite common to have more than one environment. Right? When I started, we only had one environment for tests, and that was the production environment. Okay? Today we have development, we have QA, we have lab, we have demo, we have pre-prod, and we have prod. Okay? And we need to ensure that all these environments, or we need to ensure that our software is working in all of these environments. So we can also use data-driven for that. Okay, they call it environments in Postman. So basically, it's to set different to configure a set of properties for each environment, and then you can use those properties in your tests. One typical property is the address of the domain that we will use. Okay, so between all these different environments, the domain will change. So you can set that as a property, and instead of changing your script, you just run that. Change the parameters, and you will get a new. So I will run it and get results. As you see, this was a fake test, so it will not show any positive results. So this is for developers. Okay, remember they told that this is for developers. So the actual reporting is quite bad. Okay, you don't expect something that will be quite powerful. So let's move to the next one. Okay, where it is. SOAP UI. Do you know SOAP UI? Okay, SOAP UI, they say that it's build better, test smarter. So it's the most advanced REST and SOAP testing tool in the world. And actually, it's the standard for API testing. Okay, and it was quite affordable. They had this free version and also the paid version, and it's quite affordable. So you could get or you can get the free version, and even the paid version was quite affordable. They are changing that a little bit, so it's becoming more expensive in our case. In our days. So let me try to show you. So you have the free version, looks a little bit like this, and you have the paid version that looks like this. Okay, and with different features, you have SOAP UI itself, but you also have secure, load UI, service visualization. So they are packing all these different types of tools. If you don't like it, they don't care. They just pack it all together. And the price was increasing also. So you can do everything. You are using the free version or the paid version of SOAP UI? Paid version? 2 or 3? Okay. Well, in this case, I will recommend the paid version. Okay, because you can do the same with the difference that you don't need to write code. So if you are using the paid version, you can do everything just with the right click, and you add a new step. Okay, let me show you how. Okay, new project. Okay, you have a request. So again, the same concept. You have request, and you can build your request, and you can execute it, and you will see. Where is it? Get. Okay. And you can see the same, and if it's XML or HTML, you can do this. And basically, then you can add a test case. The first time that you are using SOAP UI, you can struggle a little bit with this. SOAP UI has different concepts. It has the concept of request and then the test case. So basically, the test, you create the request first, and then you can convert that request to a test case, similar to the history and the collections from the Postman. Okay, so I created the test. So as you can see, it switched the window, and now I have a test suite, and I have a test, and I have the request. So I can play it, and I have my JSON file here. And the good thing, and that's the difference between the automated, the paid version and the free, is that on the paid version, I can use something like add assertion for content, and I have this visual help tool that will allow me to navigate into the response, and I can do that. And that's the only difference from the free version. So from the free version, you don't have this icon, and you need to know this syntax, and you need to type this syntax by yourself. Okay, save it, and you can do everything just with right click. Okay, you can do the same that I did for an assertion. You have these assertions, add a new one, for example, for property content, and I can check, for example, the response to ensure that the code on the response is the correct one. Okay, so I can do all of this just with the right click. Okay? That's the main difference between paid and free version. With the free, you need to write your code. One common thing is to do some request, extract a parameter from the answer, and get that parameter as an input for the next request, right? You can do that just with the right click in the paid version. On the free version, you need to type some code. Okay. Simple code, they say, but it's still code, so it makes a lot of difference. And we don't have much more time, so I will introduce you to the Robo Framework. Okay, and that's a different kind of a tool. Do you know Robo Framework? No? Yeah. Okay. So it's not a tool to start. It's a framework. Okay. So it gives you the advantage of the framework, and it means that you can use the same as soon as you learn how to use it. You can use it for different types of tests. Okay. So you can use the same syntax, the same framework for web testing, for mobile, for API, you name it. Okay, and that framework will use the tool, a specific tool for a specific context. So if you are testing a web, you can use, for example, Selenium. So this will create an abstraction on the tool using a different technique that is called keyword-driven. Okay? It supports keyword-driven, that can be technical or business keywords, but it can also support behavior-driven. So if you like BDD, it also supports that. It supports data-driven, and for API testing, they have this requests library. So basically, you have your system under test, you have different set tools, like Selenium for web, or Appium for mobile, or any tool for database, and you have these test libraries. Test libraries are basically the glue. Do you know Cucumber? Yeah? So if you know Cucumber and you don't know Robo Framework, it's similar, but with Cucumber, you always need to have a pair. You always need to have a tester to write the features, the test specifications, and you need to have a developer that will implement this glue. For Robo Framework, 90% of the times, you don't need that. The libraries that exist already provide you all those features. Then you have Robo Framework, and you can feed the scripts with data. No, not yet. Okay, so let's just to finish. Let me show you. And I also have this. I will give you these links so you can quickly install this because it takes a little bit more to install. But let me just show you a simple overview. So this simple test script, a test case, it's a text-based. So you remember one of the advantages of the JSON is that you can read. For me, that's also one of the advantages of Robo test scripts. So basically, you can read this, right? Open browser, page should contain input text, some text box, congratulations, input text, some text area, and tear down close browser. So actually this is a test that I can execute. Okay. So let's execute this. And probably the window will open here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. And it closed. In the end, behind this was using Selenium. Okay. But the advantage is that I don't need to learn how to use Selenium. And if I want to use Google Chrome, I just change that, run the script, and it will use, I didn't save it, just finished. So I can use, yeah, I should run the same test, just changing that. I don't need to know all the details behind it. It will use a different browser. It's opening here. Too fast. Damn it, it's too fast. It's opening always here and closing it. So this allows you to run different tests. We are running out of time, so let's just me show you how you can run the same tests, but using the same API test that we saw before on Postman. So I start the connection, I get hold posts, I create a new post, I get the new post for that ID, and then I close the connection. Okay, so this is readable. And if you like BDD, this is also a scenario that can be executed. So create a new post, given connection is open. When a new post is created, then create post should be in the results and close connection. Okay. Easy to read. Of course, you need to write these keywords, but if you look to them, they are also not so complex. They are a little bit more complex, but as soon as you get into the syntax, for example, start connection is just to create a session. You give a name and the host where you are connecting to. Close connection is just delete all sessions. Get all posts is just a get request from the connection that we establish with this address, and then I log the results. And should be equal a string, the status code should be 200. Okay? So when we are talking about API testing, and to finish, this is a little bit more complex than the normal keywords. Okay? But it gives you all the features of the framework. And on top of that, it's quite useful because you will not need to learn a new syntax when you go to the next project. Okay? And you also have the log files, quite detailed with all the things, all the steps that are opening, that are happening. So you have all these reporting for the testing purpose. Okay, that you are missing on the Postman. You also have it on the SOAP UI, but you are missing on the Postman. To finish, okay, one example. One simple example for you to understand why these type of frameworks are useful. Imagine login today. Okay, you go to a mobile app, and you forgot your password. Okay, so you are using a mobile device, Android or iOS. You click forgot password, and you receive some email in your inbox. So you connect to your inbox using a mail client. After that, you need to grab the login, the address that will open a web page where you can reset your password. You click and you open a web page. Right? You set your password. You can go to a web service, or you can go to a database to ensure that that password was correctly changed. And then you go back to your mobile app, to try the new password. If we are talking about tools, we are talking about 4 or 5 different tools. And then you need to connect all of these together, right? You need to connect all of these steps, and most probably you will do it manually. So you have automation tools, and then the glue is manual. If you use a framework like Robo Framework, you can do all of these using the same test script. Okay, simple scenario. Okay. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, so I think we have time for questions still.
Yes, we don't have any time
No?
at all.
Okay. So just I will be here today. I will also have another talk. So if you are not, if you didn't get enough from me, we'll have another talk. But if you have any questions about these tools, about API testing, please feel free to reach me during the breaks or the rest of the day. Okay?
Все, отлично. С Джом увидимся еще вечером, а сейчас через 10 минут начнется новый захватывающий рассказ. Можете посмотреть. А пока бегите, пейте кофе скорее.
Thank you.
И не забывайте про обед. Но это так вообще, по жизни.